keeps, just for the sake of time with becoming spring break, we're going to just skip through and summarize the rest of what happens in our comic. And we see that Don Quixote, from here, it's just a downward spiral from, his moment at the Venta when he took a guy out. And he tries to be courageous, and every time it just fails. And here, Rocinante trips up and he falls, and they hit him like, mind your own business, old man. And then he goes back home, and he's not well. And so the priest and them, to cure him, they burn all of his books on knighthood. And he ends up leaving, and he picks up a sidekick along the way. And this little guy is Sancho Panza. Now, we've talked about the names that he's given people. Sancho Panza means wide belly. So it's pretty much like the fat man as his partner, and he's riding a donkey. And Don Quixote must have really done some work on him, because he made him leaving his family behind. And he says, all right, I'll do all this with you, as long as you don't forget about making me the governor of the island that you promised me. So he's kind of following along with this thing, but he thinks he's serious. He's not sure what his mental state is yet. And so as they're traveling, this is probably one of the most iconic moments in the story of Don Quixote, is in this chapter 9, Los Molinos de Viento, which are windmills. And so in this, they come up to these windmills, and Don Quixote says on page 23, Señor, he says, La suerte guía nuestros pasos. ¿Ves, Sancho, esos gigantes con enormes brazos? Verás cómo los venzo y los rindo en batalla.
Señor, no son gigantes, son molinos de viento.
Bien se ve, Sancho, pero no sabes de las aventuras de caballería. Si tienes miedo, muévete a un lado y reza, porque ahora entro en batalla. And he takes off. He's like, if you're too scared, you stay here. I'm going to go into battle. And he's saying, this is not good. It's kind of like when your friends have a bad idea, but you still go along with it. Or you're like, all right, well, good luck with that. That's what he does. So Don Quixote rushes in, runs into the windmill. Dulcinea, mi señora, ayúdame en esta batalla. Ay, ay, ay. And it flips him all the way around, and Sancho's thinking, I told you they were windmills, not giants. And so Don Quixote is pretty quick. Remember, he knows what he's doing. Sancho, las batallas tienen magia, y las cosas cambian. He blames it on some kind of warlock, a wizard named Fristón, who apparently changed the giants into windmills so that Don Quixote would lose. Sancho Panza's like, okay, man, well, that was a terrible fall. Are you okay? Are you doing all right? And Don Quixote, being the tough guy, says, I wouldn't care if my guts were hanging out. I'm a knight, and I'm tough. I'm going to make it. And so they go through, and there's just more things that happen in the story where Don Quixote just fails miserably. And this is where Sancho Panza starts to think, maybe this guy isn't okay. I'm going to stay with him so he doesn't get hurt more. They go to an inn, and he doesn't pay up. And the innkeeper goes to charge Don Quixote, and he was like, look, man, this is a castle. I don't have to pay. And he's like, no, this is an inn. So Don Quixote is like, seeing things, wait a minute. Wait, so you lied to me. This isn't a castle. So we're starting to see when people are playing along with him, it's a bad idea. They should just tell him, no, sir, this is not what it is. See, it goes to my theory of he knows exactly what he's doing because he's old and people are just going to go along with him. And so Sancho ends up getting thrown up in the air for any money to pay the debt. And Don Quixote's excuse is, oh, It was it was an enchanted place, an enchanted castle. And they were ghosts that did everything to him. And poor little Sancho was like, they messed me up good then. So once again, he makes another battle with things. This one he gets hit in the head with a slingshot, and he says, "Man," Don Quixote's like, "My teeth hurt." And Sancho tells him, "Wait, how many teeth did you used to have before?" And he's like, "I used to have 4 good ones." And he's like, "Well, you have 2.5 on the bottom. There aren't any on top. And good luck with that." And he says, "Oh, I've got bad luck. He hasn't had any teeth for a while now because it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse." He attacks a dude thinking he has a golden helmet, and he runs away scared, but it's just made out of brass. And so he keeps having troubles. He goes to fight a prison guard guy, and the workers go and beat him up. And he's just one after another of adventures that fail. Finally, they make it back home. Sancho goes back and he's like, "This guy's crazy. He's got issues. We need some help." And so they have an intervention, if you will. And they take Don Quixote back home. Sancho's happy to see his donkey again. They go back to La Mancha. Don Quixote goes crazy again, beats up all the wine barrels and bottles, and they throw him in jail. They make a little jail for him, and Sancho's like, "Look, man, you're not cursed because you're hungry. Cursed people don't have hunger; they don't feel those physical needs." And so he's like, well, he's just kind of tripping, and that's where Sancho was like, "All right, buddy, this is as far as I'm going to go with you." And they take him back home, and he rests for several days, and the priest tells his niece that she should not let him read any more books on knights, and he cannot go out on any more adventures as a knight. Okay? This is the classic Spanish novel. We're just wrapping it up here before spring break. You'll need to answer your questions, the ones that I have on the document for you with this, and turn in that journal before the Monday after spring break, and we will start into our new units. So those of you that are planning on studying more Spanish later on in Spanish 3-4 and in college, you will go back to Don Quixote quite a bit because it is part of the golden age of Spanish literature and an all-time classic.